Hello and welcome to our manufacturing operations catalyst. In this overview, we're going to show you some of the features that we have available for this pre-configured solution, specifically around kind of the per facility control tower kind of reporting layers, as well as things like the audits and some of the data sets that you might have to make your manufacturing be able to report more effectively for your operations. So what we're looking at here is for one facility specifically. This could be done for a specific line if you would like. And of course, you could have one of these for every facility that you might be maintaining or operating on. So what we have here is kind of a high level view where you can track the defects, your defects rates, your kind of plans and goals for specific runs, as well as your costs due to maybe mismanufactured goods, machine downtime, etc. And then that's rolling into your overall equipment efficiency. For your rates, the availability, quality performance, so relatively standardized metrics to track and monitor the content. There may be some other additional KPIs that you may be interested in tracking around. So tracking whatever units or widgets that you're looking to leverage, as well as the defects. So what we're looking here is a little bit more granular for some of those measures that you might want to be tracking within these components. We all do also show, since the manufacturing operations really change, possibly even on a minute by minute basis, but certainly on a daily or weekly, pick your kind of cadence frequency within here. So you can track how you're tracking against plan, as well as the units that you're producing that are good within a given period. And then looking at your general production kind of rates. So which ones you're achieving, which ones are your defect components from here. There are some additional things like root cause analysis if you wanted to optimize your routes or your production lines and see what might be influencing port quality or lags within your production means and schedules within, and then see how you're tracking on your overall efficiency over time. And you can get these breakdowns by certain kind of manufacturing lines or pods within. So let's step into the details. So if you wanted to create a new audit, and this is the primary workforce or way of means of collecting information within the system. Basically, we're logging in maybe an inspector, a line operator, equipment operator, beginning or the end of their shift could be recording these updates. So selecting dates, what shift they belong into, what line they're working on. These can be saved and actually stored at each kind of line or facility to save some of the user's clicks. You can select your projects. This can be a tailored list for what products you might be producing, and then logging in your actual run times or end times, and then selecting in maybe root cause analyses or categories from the deck. So again, these are kind of those periodic audits that you might be performing. So depending on the frequency or who you might be having performance that audit can be updated. You can also try again, maybe there's critical issues if a machine is not well maintained, or perhaps there's a safety issue or the quality of a product is not rolled out row. You can actually just upload that straight into the sheet itself. So when that is logged, it'll come into your actual audit sheet. There again, we're tracking things like the date, the shifts, the lines, etc. And then we're performing some additional calculations to see, what's available, and that can be based on your shifts kind of daily hours. So if you've got 3 shifts and they're all 8 hours, you can run that. If you've got 2 12-hour shifts, you can update that as well, kind of in some of these additional back-end sheets. But what we're really looking at here is every time you're performing an audit, we're calculating things like the defects rates, the plan achieve rates, the uptime, the downtime, et cetera, for these components, things like the mean time between the failures to let you know from here. So this is a very calculation heavy sheet. But the inputs that information is basic, like we saw from that audit form. So you can see over time, we're just logging these kind of items overall. You can certainly come back down into these sheets, perform any other kind of analysis if you would like. But really, this is just the kind of end result for that information. Now, there are a couple of supporting sheets in here, and these are lightweight, but you can certainly expand upon these. These might be your products table. So if you're adding in several new types of products or loading in your product database, Maybe you're using some kind of manufacturing ERP tool like Acumatica or SAP. You could certainly load these things in and then track things like the cycle time per widget, maybe the labor requirements or the impacts that you might have within these costs. So you can add that in additional reference columns in here as well. It might be maybe rates within first shift or second shift, or the impact cost for those. Really, this is a reference table that we use in several of the formulas to kind of calculate back. In a similar vein are your working shifts. So this one's pretty lightweight, again, in the context, but if you're running multiple shifts, different hours, if you're running it by maybe work pods or different facilities and different shifts at different facilities might have different working rates or kind of capacity. This is where you can log those within here. So it's a little deceiving from the front end of what this looks like, but it's really powerful when it comes to their equations afterwards. And again, last thing is our operating line. So again, utilization cost per hour. This is basically keeping your lines running effectively so that you're making as much money at the highest quality within the available capacity from the team. Again, so these kind of database sheets really are elements of the solution that you set up once, and then from there it feeds into your audit sheet and a series of calculations to build out your control tower dashboard. So similar things like these can also roll up as a whole. So we can aggregate these into a portfolio control. So the view that we're looking at in this case is just for one, maybe facility more specifically. But if you're, multi-state or multi-facilities, you would get basically a same view in here, but for all of the facilities that are being aggregated in together. And then you can view additional things like total raw failure measures, where you can look and see what are all the machine problems I have. I can log in, I can see the defect quantities. You can adjust the columns that you want to see like run times or maybe a specific line that are being impacted. So all of these kind of reports give you a little bit more of a granular drill down into the information for your manufacturing options, so you can see those performance measures and make maybe meaningful changes within. So to recap, the manufacturing control tower and manufacturing operations solution we have gives you a quick snapshot and insight into the actual efficacy and overall equipment efficiency for your production operations, really through these series of periodic audits, as well as reference information for things like rates, availability, etc. You can certainly take the solution and expand it over time if you want to track actual time studies or additional measures within. But this is a good foundation to kind of see how you are performing within your manufacturing suite. Thanks for your time.